The following program contains elements of programming that are previously recorded and may appear as live.
Welcome to Hope Reigns, a show brought to you by 8 Days of Hope, where we share God-sized stories from the mission field all around the country. Now, live from the WDCX studios, here are your hosts, Steve Tiber and Mike Fiella.
Welcome back to another week of Hope Reigns, a broadcast of 8 Days of Hope. Steve Tiber here, hanging out with you on this beautiful Saturday, hanging out with my dear friend, Mr. Mike Fiella. He is in the house. Mike.
Oh, yeah.
You know, can you believe it's the middle of June already?
Oh, come on.
Yes. I mean, we live in upstate New York, and that summer's like a 90, 100-day period. We're about 20, 30 days in already.
Yeah, and we're running around trying to do everything, get it all done before it gets cold again.
I know. We get our yards ready so we can hang out for a couple months. But, hey, those of you who are listening across America, thank you so much for joining us. Every Saturday, we like to share some God-sized stories from the mission field. 8 Days of Hope is a mission organization. This is our 20th year of existence. We started in 2005. Mike, you've been hanging around with 8 Days of Hope pretty much, I think, since 2007 or 8.
Yes.
So you have been a part of it probably about 85% of the time. A lot of things have changed. A lot of things have changed, Mike.
Bay St. Louis was my first trip,
okay,
and it was just a great experience. But, I was just thinking about what that statement there. What changes have we seen throughout these 20 years?
Yeah, sure.
Anywhere from equipment to volunteers to leaders and to just meeting people and supporting and loving homeowners and helping them out.
Yeah, helping families after disasters is pretty much what people know that we do. For 14 years, we had one arm of the ministry. For 12 years, we had one arm of the ministry where we went after disaster about 9-12 months later and built homes or rebuilt homes in just 8 days. Hence, the number 8 in the Bible means new beginnings. And so that's where the name came from, 8 Days of Hope. We launched a rapid response arm, and the rapid response arm goes right away. In fact, this past month, we've been in St. Louis feeding people after tornadoes went through literally the downtown area or right outside downtown in St. Louis. We were also in London, Kentucky doing work for families who, again, went through an EF3 tornado. In fact, Mike, today our guests are going to be Alan and Tina Haley. Okay. They're missionaries with the organization, and they led the first week in London. And you've been around Alan and Tina.
Oh, yeah. And just the mention of missionaries. That started when? Late,
about 4 or 5 years ago.
4 or 5 years,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have about 24 missionaries. They raise their own support. You'll be hearing more about that in a little bit. We also started a mass feeding arm. That's the arm that was just in St. Louis feeding people. With no power, Mike, there was 30,000 people without power for 2 weeks.
Oh, my. And you can't do anything.
Imagine being out of power for 2 hours. I mean, just the inconvenience, the refrigerator, you got to keep the door shut because you got to keep everything cold and the power, the time, you can't recharge your phones.
Phone.
Yeah, right. Our phones. There's so much you're affected by when you lose power, but to lose it for 2 weeks.
Wow. And you think, too, you haven't mentioned yet our laundry trailer, which no power, and we wouldn't wear the same clothes for a week,
right,
a month.
right. And actually, we took the laundry trailer to St. Louis, and normally we do after flood events, too, because washers and dryers flooded, and the laundromat, they flooded as well, right? Floods just don't go to one house and then skip the business area as well. And, we bring a generator, and we just watch volunteers do people's laundry or offer them to use the facilities. And, Mike, we have seen so many people come to meet Jesus in that laundry trailer, and we have multiple laundry trailers. And we also have a safe house arm. In fact, while we're here chatting today, Mike, Blitz number 2 for Safe Harbor Phase 2 just started, and we're there in Ohio. This is our 14th project that we have built of safe facilities around the country for women and children rescued from sex trafficking. So we've had Melissa Brown on here multiple times, and she's wonderful. And what the work they're doing, Mike, these are girls between 14 and 18. They've been rescued from trafficking. And right now, Phase 2 includes building a gymnasium and finishing the lower level of some cottages so it can be used for transitional housing. So we were there last year. We're in the second Blitz, and we're scheduling either 4 or 5 blitzes. But I don't know if I got to show you some pictures when we get off air. Yeah. That thing is going up quick.
We got to get down there again. You and I took a trip there, or my wife and I took a trip, met you down there at the early stages. And definitely we're there for the ribbon cutting, but I got to get down there to see this phase here too.
Yeah. I'm actually heading down there tomorrow.
Oh,
yeah. So
all
I'll get some
right.
pictures, and but they think they're framing. It's 7,000 square foot, this gymnasium, and they're also going to put in a larger kitchen that they can feed the whole campus in one place. Right now, the cottages have their own kitchen where the 4 girls live with a house mom,
Okay.
and they learn cooking skills and they learn life skills. But I believe it should be done framing here in a couple of days, so we're excited about that as well.
Fantastic.
So 4 arms, rapid response, rebuilding, making food, mass feeding, and our safe house ministry. We've been quite busy.
Oh my, come a long way. God has really, really blessed. Again, I think of what are the numbers of volunteers?
Yeah, over 60,000 people now, Mike, have traveled with AD's Hope. I was looking at the number yesterday, too. $93 million of work has been donated.
93
Yeah,
million.
but when you build or rebuild 11,300 homes, that number, shoots up
Sure.
pretty darn quickly. But to do, that wasn't the plan. The plan was let's go help somebody out with their house after Hurricane Katrina. And now this national ministry has been going, hey, if you want to be in the loop wherever we go, remember, whenever we go anywhere, it's free. We don't charge you a penny to come serve. We feed you really well, and we give you a safe place to sleep. We even do your laundry every second or third day. So,
nice.
To sign up for our text alerts, text the word HOPE to 86373. Again, to sign up for our text alerts, text the word HOPE to 86373. And anytime we go anywhere, so when we went to St. Louis or when we went to London, Kentucky, both in the last 3 weeks, you would have got a notice. And if you can sneak over there for a couple of days and help out, you can meet other believers from around the country, and you're going to have a blast. So again, text the word HOPE, 86373.
You are really good. You make it sound like a vacation.
Well, I tell you, Mike, it is. Now, some of this is hard work. There's no
Yes,
doubt.
absolutely,
I mean,
right.
if you're making food for thousands of people and you've got to make, thousands of plates of spaghetti or hamburger or, sandwiches for lunch and
Sure.
you got to put everything together. In St. Louis, when I was there a couple of weeks ago, it was like 92 degrees.
Oh my goodness.
And we're working on black pavement. Now, we got fans. We've got these little cooler units and all that stuff, but it's warm. But I tell you, the volunteers, they were smiling from me. They were having a blast.
I remember, I go back to Houston with this comment here. Working on some of the music equipment there, and the kitchen was right next to us, and they're laughing. They're having fun. And what are they doing? They're making peanut butter jelly sandwiches.
Yeah, let's go.
And, hey, man, yeah. It was awesome.
Well, it's interesting is when they make the peanut butter and jelly, they wear like double gloves, and they you think they use utensils, but they don't. They kind of like scoop it with their hands.
Yeah.
And smear it on the bread and,
Sure.
and put some jam on and flop it together.
I thought they were throwing sandwiches. They were having so much fun, but no, they weren't.
I was at the K-Love Fan Awards a couple weeks ago, and Ben Fuller was there. And by the way, he's got a new CD out. Check it out. Ben's one of our partners, as is Terrian. We do a lot with We Are Messenger as well. Mm-hmm. But Ben still talks about in Laplace, he had a chance to make sandwiches. He made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches for about an hour and a half. He said he didn't lick his fingers once until he was done. And I said, I hope so, Ben. I hope so. But that was a good memory for him.
Hey, you do such a good job at that K-Love. They're going to start hiring you to do this stuff. Don't leave 8 days of hope.
Well, check this out. So, we were there because we have a relationship with TBN. And if you didn't see the K-Love Fan Awards, Tyrion comes out, talks about her partnership a little bit with 8 Days of Hope. And then we do a red carpet interview for about 90 seconds. And it's on YouTube. Just go to TBN and K-Love Fan Awards. It's about 45, 50 minutes in. But I was there. TBN didn't have anyone to interview everybody. And so DeLynn, who's our contact, says, Steve, can you do me a big favor? She goes, you seem comfortable doing this. Would you interview everyone that's coming by? And I thought I was going to do like 2 interviews, Terrian and Jordan Flees. So she brings over Dallas Jenkins, who's, the founder of The Chosen. Sure. And she brings, Chris Tomlin. And next thing I turn around, there's Elevation Worship and the Jaywalkers. And then I turn around, there was David. And his name is not David. His name is Michael, but he's from the House of David. He's the actor. Had a chance to interview him and, for King and Country. It just went on all night long.
How did you do that? I mean, did you do any background on him? Or
No, I did. So some of the artists I know, but like Chris Tomlin. So here's my question to Chris. I've met Chris one other time.
Sure.
Great dude, by the way. I said, hey, Chris, music has changed so much. I mean, you have Forrest Frank and you have Skillet. You have the Ben Fullers and Terrians of the world. You're here. Michael W. Smith is still around. The diversity of music is so amazing. And of course, I asked him his opinion on music, and we talked a little bit about that. And he said, I've been around a while, Steve. Some people say I'm old, and I said, well, no, you're not old. I mean, he's still coming out with hits as well.
Sure.
So it was stuff like that. But but the guy from House of David, he was telling me that this was the first time he's ever acted professionally, and he's the lead actor in the House of David. So that was kind of interesting. But it was crazy though. When she came over, she was Dallas Jenkins is here from The Chosen. You got to interview him. I said, okay.
Yeah, sure. No problem.
So before we even started, I said, Dallas, I'm not a fanboy. I'm not. But I said, Dallas, thank you for all that you've done for the kingdom, doing Chosen. And so, yeah, we just talked about Chosen, season 6 coming up. And I said, Dallas, what's going through your mind as season 6 starts to, wrap up. I mean, they're filming it as we speak. And he said, season 6 is the season about the crucifixion.
Oh, my goodness.
And he said, so probably the hardest season they've ever done. And he said, Steve, we expect attacks because, we're about
sure.
to, go through a season where, we're getting up at 3 a.m. They're filming out in Utah.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, so he told me a lot. But his daughter goes to school with my daughter at Liberty.
Really?
Yeah, they have common friends, so they've met a little bit.
Man, you are connected.
Oh, yeah.
Dude.
Oh, yeah. Really connected. Well, I'll tell you what, who we are connected to, there's some great radio stations out there that carry Hope Reigns every week, like KAXV in Bastrop, Monroe, Louisiana. We've been that way to do some disaster work. Jacksonville, North Carolina. We were there for 8 Days of Hope A in Pamlico County, WJKA. Thank you for listening to Hope Reigns. And then in Van Horn, Texas, we were there as well for a tornado about 5 years ago. KVHR. Thank you for carrying Hope Reigns. 3 of the 205 stations that carry Hope Reigns every single week. But who's counting, Mike?
Yeah, I mean,
Who's counting?
Well, you are great numbers, man, with everything. But and who knows what's going to open up in the future?
Yes, you never know. Never know. You're still on social media, right? A little bit?
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I want to remind our listeners we're still on Facebook, Instagram, and YouTube. So if you go to YouTube. And today and tomorrow, the last 2 days, if you want to see the concert that we did in L.A. on May 10th with Terrian and Jordan Feliz, it's on our website. Go to 8dayshope.com. It's uninterrupted. We lost the feed a couple times. We had some Wi-Fi issues.
Sure.
And Mike, I found out later, it was literally someone just unplugged something.
Oh,
At the end of the night, someone came up. I'm not going to say who. It wasn't a member of the 8 Days Hope family, but it was somebody who was working on the tech, and they said, Steve, I blew it. I unplugged this, and that messed up our signal. We didn't have as much strength as we had when we tried it out. But anyways, you could check it out. Let's focus on the positive, Steve. The positive is today, right after the show, you can watch A Night of Hope at 8daysofhope.com, and you can relive that night. We actually met one of the families as well, so it was kind of cool.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Well, again, it's a great show. Watch it tonight, and you'll enjoy it.
Yeah. One quick thing on the Kayla Fan Awards. So my first boss, who gave me a huge break, hired me as a vice president in 1999. I moved down to Mississippi. His name is Jerry Massa, lives in Texas now. So my phone is blown up the other day when it was airing, and he just said, "Oh my gosh, Steve, he has my number." And he hired me in 1999. Great boss, great guy, loves the Lord.
Okay.
And he says, "Steve, you did a great job." And then his wife got on. She said, "But Jerry didn't want to tell you, but he said that you look really old."
Oh, really?
Yeah. And I said, well, Karen,
no.
think about it. He hired me when I was 39. I'm 64. That happens, man. When you get older. Well, he was having some fun. He goes, you're looking older now, Steve. Like, yeah, that was, 25 years ago, Jerry. But anyways.
Send him a picture, another picture.
Send him another picture.
It might be something wrong with his TV second. You don't look that old.
It is what it is, man. It's all good. My point is, you don't see someone for 20 years like, hey.
Well, yeah.
Oh, he's aged a lot.
Yeah. Well, how about he just grew up a little?
That's right.
Whatever.
Yeah, grew out. One of the two. Hey, when we come back, we're going to be talking to Alan and Tina Haley. They're missionaries with 8 Days of Hope, and they've been leading in London, Kentucky with our Rapid Response Division. We'll be talking to them in just a minute. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Steve, hanging out with Mike. Mike is the, it's so good to see you, Mike. And your granddaughter, real quick, your Harper, she's doing better.
Thank you so much for your prayers and announcing it on the air. My granddaughter has a major surgery that had going into her skull.
Right.
And she's doing excellent.
Great.
I saw a personality here that I'm challenged
I love that.
to live like an 8-year-old.
I love that.
Amazing.
Every time I send you a text to ask or just let you know I've been praying, every time you give back glowing reports. So prayer works.
Yeah.
I mean,
absolutely.
And I know people I know our staff and others, we've been praying for Harper, so that's good news.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. When we come back, we'll talk to Ellen and Tina Haley, missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. Thanks for joining us today. My name's Steve, hanging out with Mike. You're listening to Hope Reigns, a broadcast of 8 Days of Hope.
Hey friends of 8 Days of Hope, human trafficking is the fastest growing crime globally. It's now estimated that traffickers are turning a profit of $236 billion annually. And as awareness of this horrific crime increases, survivors are looking for support as they exit a life of unimaginable hurt and brokenness. At 8 Days of Hope, we are humbled to come alongside ministries that are serving survivors across the United States. We've helped 13 organizations build or remodel transitional homes, counseling centers, and even launch a $4.5 million campus in Central Ohio for girls who are rescued from this monstrous crime. Today, we are looking for volunteers who are skilled in construction to join us as we work together to end human trafficking. If you love roofing, are skilled in plumbing or electrical, or just consider yourself handy, we would love for you to join us. You must be 18 and older and pass a background check to serve with this arm of the ministry. To get involved, email us at safehouse@8daysofhope.com. That's safehouse@8daysofhope.com.
8 Days of Hope is supported by a combination of donations from listeners and business partners like Provia. Provia is a manufacturer of residential doors, windows, siding, stone, and metal roofing. Provia is committed to serving their customers and sharing Christ in order to let our light shine before others so they may see our good works and give glory to our Father who is in heaven. More about Provia and their products at provia.com.
Welcome back to Hope Reigns, a broadcast of 8 Days of Hope. I tell you, just hanging out here with Mike Fiala brings me joy. Steve Tiber here. We have got some amazing guests today, Mike.
Absolutely.
You know, missionaries are so important in 8 Days of Hope, and there's about 24 of them, and they travel on a moment's notice. You know, in the last, I told you in the last 30 days, where we've shared, we've been to Los Angeles, California, feeding people and putting on a benefit concert and actually doing some ash outs. We were in St. Louis, Missouri, feeding people because of a tornado that ripped through downtown, right outside downtown. And then there was the same day, the same set of tornadoes in different states. We were in London, Kentucky because of a tornado as well. And we were there for about 2 weeks. Hundreds of volunteers showed up, and we just were so blessed that so many volunteers said yes. But you can't do it without leaders.
Absolutely.
And two of our leaders, our missionary leaders, are on with us today. Ellen and Tina Haley, good morning and welcome to Hope Reigns.
Good morning.
So before we get into Kentucky, let's learn a little bit about the Haleys. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you are, where you live, and how you heard about 8 Days of Hope, and maybe how many years you've been with us, and give some background before we go into the London, Kentucky story, if you don't mind. Tina, we'll start with you.
Okay. All right. We actually live in Murray, Kentucky, all of our lives. We met up with 8 Days of Hope in 2005 when 8 Days deployed for Hurricane Katrina. Wow. We fell in love with the ministry, and we've been there ever since. Then when Steve announced that they were praying about having missionaries, we got really excited and started praying about it and seeing if that's where God was leading us. And we felt that that's what he was doing. And so we both, it kind of worked out our timing with our jobs and everything, that we were able to do that. And we've been full-time almost 8 years now.
Wow. So the missionary program started 8 years ago?
Almost, right at it. Getting close to it, yeah.
Wow. Mike and I were talking off air that maybe it had been going on about 5 years, but time keeps moving on, doesn't it? Time keeps moving on.
It does.
Alan, so you've been on many rebuild trips. You've been on rapid response trips. What is your favorite?
My favorite is probably the rapid response.
Okay. And why is that?
You actually get to talk to the actual victims and you hear their stories. You know, some of them's good and some of them's not so good, but you actually connect with the people.
Sure, Alan, I know what that's like, and my wife and I many times have been, sometimes the first people on the grounds, and that they just see you and they hug you and you love on them. But I'm just curious, you're full-time missionaries. What were you doing before? I mean, what job did you have? And all of a sudden not all of a sudden, but you're a missionary. It's a whole different lifestyle.
Well, I started out, I worked in a plant for 20 years, and I was salaried, so they had a salary cut. So I left there. I went into carpentry, and all this is just building up to what we're doing now. So it was all in God's plan on how orchestrated everything to where I could be right here with the skills I needed.
Awesome.
And what about you, Tina?
I worked at a local university in the agriculture department, and kind of the same thing. They had budget cuts and people were losing their jobs, and I unfortunately fell into that group. But it was God's timing, like Alan said, because my dad was really sick. So that gave me time to help my mom with him until he passed. And then after that, it was God's timing. We just went full time and have not looked back.
Talking to Alan and Tina Haley. They're missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. We're going to talk about London, Kentucky here in a minute. To learn more about them, or maybe even join up with them, partner with them, go to 8daysofhope.com, click Who We Are, the missionary tab, and just look for their picture, Alan and Tina Haley, Haley, and you can actually sow into their mission and become monthly partners. And Mike, you and I have talked about this so many times. Even $10, $25, $50 a month goes a long way. But these missionaries know that you're, praying for them, and they get 100% of these dollars. These dollars go to them. 8 Days Hope doesn't hold on to anything of this. So you can, you get a tax deduction. You become a monthly partner. It's no different than sponsoring a kid around the country or around the world. But here's a couple who, on a moment's notice, we'll talk about it here in a second, leave, Mike, to serve others. And, you need to eat. You need to have a car or a truck that works. You got a mortgage, you got health care, you got all that stuff. But, boy, it's a great way to partner with these people by coming alongside these missionaries.
Yeah, and when you're a missionary out doing God's work, it's just a feeling and the knowing that somebody's supporting you financially, yes. But, like you mentioned, they're praying for them. Pray for these guys. I mean, they're, pray for all the missionaries. Go to that our website, pick them and pray with them. But today, Alan and Tina, I mean, they're servants. I mean, when do you ever, let's start with Alan. How often do you go home?
Yeah.
Well, we got our neighbors mowing the yard and other people pulling fish out of our pond.
Now, did you want them to take fish out of your pond? Is that a plan, or is that something you want to happen?
If I can enjoy a meal off of it, go ahead.
Okay. Some people down south or even up north, man, they get a little funny about people at their ponds now. It's been interesting. So, Alan and Tina, you're missionaries, but you've also been trained to lead. Tina, what type of things do you do in your leadership role with 8 Days of Hope?
Well, mainly I'm in the office a lot when we deploy. But like here at Safe Harbor where we are now, I'm going to be going out in the field. But we just greet the people that come in and talk to the homeowners on the phone. And a lot of times, when we answer those phones, we don't know what's on the other end.
Sure. They're
distraught and they're upset. They've lost everything they own, and they're needing help. So that's part of our job as leaders, to be there for them and help guide them and be Christ-like for them.
Alan, we've almost served now about 12,000 families over the last 20 years, and I know you've met some families traveling, and you mentioned Safe Harbor, Tina, a minute ago. Just for the listeners, so they know, you guys were leading the first week in London, Kentucky, and now you leave there. Into Mike's point, you don't go home to check the fish in the pond. You move over to Ohio and you start working on phase 2 of this amazing campus that we are building for free for children who've been rescued from trafficking. But Alan, going from place to place to place, is it hard? When you left London, you met families who've lost everything, lost their homes, lost their business. The community was changed. There was loss of life. How hard is it to kind of reset when you then go to a campus to build, a gymnasium for the girls, and the girls are actually on campus? But what's the mindset change, Alan, as you're going from one to the other?
Wow, what a question. You're going to destruction, physical destruction to human destruction. And it's hard to navigate that, you know what I'm trying to say?
Sure.
Yeah.
It is, because, it's physical versus mental.
Yeah.
Destruction.
Yeah. And the destruction on the human part, of course, people who are trafficking, Mike, is the fastest growing crime in the world.
It is, yeah.
And when we started this arm, I think back in 2018, so we're going on our 7th year, we never thought we would have, we'd have 14 facilities around the country that volunteers went and helped build or renovate. But Alan and Tina, right now, and again, we are going to get to London, Kentucky, but right now you're at Safe Harbor. This is the campus that 8 Days of Hope built, and we're working on phase 2. Being on campus and walking through the campus and seeing what you were a part of in phase 1, and then starting to see this gymnasium come together. Tina, what's going through your mind?
It's kind of mind-blowing just to see, you started with a piece of land, and then now, like you said, almost 2 years later or whatever it is, been 3, it's just amazing to see how far we've come at this facility. And then it really blows my mind that we're back doing more, that there's a need for more.
Well, Tina, have you met some of the ladies that are being housed there, and what was that experience like if you did?
I have not met any of the ladies.
Sure,
okay.
Sure. And these are teenage girls, and I know that Melissa Brown and the team there do a real good job of protecting. I know that there's been other facilities, Mike, that we've helped. I think about Mercy Gate in Texas and some others where we've had a chance to meet some of those who, we don't call them victims. They're survivors.
Right.
That's great. And now they're thriving. Some of them are thriving because they've gotten the emotional, physical, and spiritual help they needed. Mm-hmm. You know what I think is so cool, Alan? Someday you and I are going to go home to the Lord, and doing ministry sometimes is super easy, and sometimes it is super, super, super tough. But part of our legacy, the 4 of us and the other 59,996 volunteers and the small staff we have, to be a part of something so grand, and not because we're special, not because 8 Days Hope has got it all figured out, but when I tomorrow I'm going to be at Safe Harbor, and I just know. When I walk on that land and I look around, someday I believe we're going to meet some of these women and children in heaven, and they're going to come up to Alan and Tina Haley, and they're going to say thank you. Mm-hmm. They're going to say thank you for helping me. Thank you for building something that I can thrive in, that I can be educated, I can get my medical care. Alan, knowing that day, 30 years, 50 years, however long it is from now, but that day's coming. How cool is that going to be, Alan?
That's going to be very cool. Just to say, really, it was you I helped,
Sure.
And get a big old hug from them.
Yeah, that's nice.
Yeah, I bet. Well, let's do this. Let's take a quick break, and when we come back from break, we're going to talk about London, Kentucky, the tornado that went through Kentucky, and the leadership that the 2 of you provided, and some of the volunteers that came. And maybe we'll look for a story of maybe somebody that you guys met that we served in London. But we'll be back in a minute. My name is Steve, hanging out with Mike. Today we are interviewing Alan and Tina Haley. They're missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. Go to the website, 8daysofhope.com, click on Who We Are, the missionary tab, and look for their picture and partner with them. There's a way that you can actually become a monthly partner, or maybe you don't want that commitment, but you want to do a one-time gift. They would really appreciate it. They really would. Again, go to 8daysofhope.com and join up with the Halleys. We'll be back in a minute. You're listening to Hope Reigns. It's a broadcast of 8 Days of Hope.
Hey friends of 8 Days of Hope, this is Hannah Fletcher, your communications director. I wanted to say thank you so much for listening to Hope Reigns, a broadcast of 8 Days of Hope. Since 2005, we have existed to love and serve those in need in the face of natural and human disasters. We accomplish this mission through our rebuilding, rapid response, safe house, and mass feeding ministries. It's such a privilege to hear how God moves each and every week through our volunteers and leaders as they strive to provide both physical and spiritual healing to the brokenhearted. Today, we are grateful to have mobilized almost 60,000 volunteers from across the United States to love and serve over 10,000 families, to provide 45,000 meals, and to build 15 homes of refuge and freedom for survivors of trafficking. How great is our God? We thank you so much for your continued support of this ministry and the work that God calls us to. To learn more and get involved with our efforts, visit 8daysofhope.com. That's 8daysofhope.com.
Welcome back to Hope Reigns, a broadcast of 8 Days of Hope. Oh, I kind of feel like it's a Monday morning, Mike.
Yeah, just a little sluggish. But
I got in late last. I was gone the last 6 days at a conference, and it's been I got it mixed up. That was worship by Taya in the first segment. But anyways, we're talking to 2 of our missionaries, Alan and Tina Haley. You know what? We're going to keep charging ahead. Missionaries are so important in 8 Days of Hope, Mike, because
absolutely
we don't have 1,400 staff like some other mission organizations do. We don't have 300 staff. I think we're at 14 right now. We might be at 15. But the Haleys, they always say yes. When they're asked to go, they always say yes.
And he's a smart man. I got to figure out when I talk to him again, how do you get somebody to cut your grass when you're not home? I'm kidding. But hats off to the both of you guys.
Yeah, amen.
Just the dedication, the commitment. And, and there's got to be sometimes when you're just overtired. But let me just ask, let me start with Alan. What gets you motivated when you're tired and then you're going from one place to another? And then I'd like to hear Tina's response to that, too. What keeps you motivated?
When you go to a disaster, you see the destruction, and then it just adrenaline kicks in, and here we go. We can't do enough. We got to get this done. I mean, it's just adrenaline driven.
Okay.
When you just first see it, and when you talk to some of the survivors, the adrenaline kicks in, and here we go.
And Tina?
Well, I'll be honest with you. After we leave a deployment, the adrenaline drops, and we just pass out when we get home for a few days.
Sure.
But then once we recoup and get things caught up, we're ready to go again. 2 weeks at home is too much, so we're ready to go. But but I'm telling you, it's all God. It's not us. It is all God, because helping these families and seeing what they're going through and thinking that could have been us. And we would hope that someone would come help us if that was the situation, And so I'm just going to give God all the credit, because he's the one that keeps us going.
Yes.
Talking to Ellen and Tina Haley, they're missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. Tina, you guys pulled up in London, Kentucky. How far is London, Kentucky from where you live in Kentucky?
About 4 hours.
Okay. So that was a short trip for you.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. So you guys drive in. You are asked to lead the first week of our rapid response deployment. Alan, I know that you would stand up in the morning, give directions. You kind of organize everything. Tina, of course, a helpmate working in the office and other areas as well. But when you pulled into London, what was going through your mind, Tina, as you pulled up?
Well, my first thing, because we saw some of the very first of the destruction as we pulled, got closer to the church, it was like, wow. And then when we get to the church, it's like, okay, your mindset goes to, we've got to get set up. We've got to because families are going to be coming in. They're going to be signing up, needing some help. And so that's pretty much what my mindset was when we got there. And then we start setting up the office, and not just the office, but the entire facility. We kind of get that ready for all the volunteers to show up.
And when you say set up, what do you have to, for someone who's never been with 8 Days of Hope on a rapid response deployment, what needs to be set up? Is it tables and chairs? Is it equipment? What is it?
All of the above. Tables and chairs, the office has to be set up, shower trailers, laundry trailers, tool trailers, you name it. It has to be set up, and everything has to be in place and ready for when the volunteers, as far even the signage, so people will know where to go. So all of that has to be in place before everybody shows up.
No pressure.
Yeah, no pressure. Do you have a checklist you work off of? I mean, is there a list that you go check, 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 or is it because you're so experienced doing this, you know what needs to be done?
Yeah, I think everybody just knows what needs to be done. There's really not a checklist, and there's other people there besides us helping us set up, even though we are leading, and everybody's a well-oiled machine. They know what to do. So
they just hit the ground. They start looking for places to get electric, places to get water, places to do with the gray waters and stuff. I mean, everybody just hits the ground running. As soon as they pull in, they jump out and start. I just know what to do too.
Yeah. And Mike, you've been to rapid response deployments and the rebuild trips. The amount of it's like everyone has a lane and everyone knows what needs to be done. I mean, there's definitely communication. There's leadership meetings, and we need to be on the same page. But if somebody's struggling with something, maybe the shower unit is acting up, or the water's not being connected properly. We're having a problem with the generator. It's really all hands on deck to make sure that we're ready for that first volunteer.
Well, that's really what 8 Days of Hope represents and is all about. I mean, it's a crazy moment to try to get everything organized and the pressure of the moment, but there's just a camaraderie, a help with one another. You walk by somebody and, hey, you see them struggling with getting that simple thing done. we help each other.
Sure.
And, we just support each other. And whether it's my job or not, if I see you're struggling with something, I'm helping you out. And that's how it operates.
Talking to Ellen and Tina Haley, they're missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. Again, go to 8daysofhope.com, click Who We Are, the missionary tab. You get to see a picture of the Haleys, Haley is their last name. You can also partner with them. So you have to raise your own support, Tina. Do you love doing that? Is that easy for you, or are you getting better, or do you just not like to ask? Tell me about raising money.
It's a struggle to ask.
Okay.
It's hard to ask because that's just not who we are, is to ask.
Sure.
But we're getting a little better at it, and I say a little. But yeah, that to me, that's the hardest part of this whole thing. You know, is to ask.
I understand that.
Well, where do you ask? I mean, do you go in front of your church and give some updates on what you're doing, or do you get on the phone? Hey, Mom. No, I'm kidding. But how do you do that?
Our church is very supportive of us. We keep them posted of where we're going. So, we'll have some people within our church that will send us something occasionally, or they'll come on monthly. But, actually, most of our support comes from people we've met traveling across the country.
Oh, wow.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Yeah. Mike, you and I live in upstate New York, and there's some missionaries that are in town right now helping get ready for the outreach we have in July 19th to the 26th. It's a one-off outreach. It's called 8 Days of Buffalo. You can sign up today. Go to the website. But there's some missionaries in town. I just ran into the Bennetts last night. They pulled in. I got in from the airport, went over to the office for a couple of minutes, and they were there. The Fullers and some others. But there's some local churches in Western New York that have come along, some missionaries they met during 8 Days Hope Buffalo. And I get so encouraged to hear that, this person's got two churches, supporting him. And this one has a business and a church. But, boy, that really helps out.
Yeah, when people hear the story and know what 8 Days of Hope are doing, know like what the Haleys are doing with their mission on these trips, it's you want to give.
Sure.
So, but we got to get the word out even more.
Well, I remember, having teenage kids. They didn't have a problem asking for money, Mike. Hannah would, bat her eyelashes, and Dad, it's just 50. Or Dad, it's just 20. I'm like,
it never ends. I've got teenage grandkids that are still following that.
I'm not there yet. I'm not there. Give us, so London, Kentucky, you're there. Alan, you led the first week, you and Tina. You were the rapid response leader. You fall under leadership. I use the words fall under, but, you work with Dustin Sullivan. You're one of, I think, roughly 10 people. What is it like to get a phone call and saying, hey, we'd love for you to lead this week? Is that something you say, I'll get back to you in 2 days? Do you hang up and pray for, 2 hours? Or is your mindset, Alan, that you've been trained, this is what God's called you to do, and when that door opens up, you walk through that door?
I just say, where you want me at?
There you go.
Where you want
Where do you want to go?
There you go. I got someone to cut my lawn and clean out the fish, so where do you want me to go today? I love it. All the places you've been, Tina, give us maybe a favorite memory serving. It could be building a safe house with 8 Days of Hope. It could be, working down in Mississippi, multiple trips down there. Or maybe it's up here in Northeast or Midwest. But do you have a favorite story that you share if someone says, hey, give us your favorite story serving with 8 Days of Hope?
I think one that comes to mind is her name was Miss Mary. I cannot remember her last name, but anyway, it's Miss Mary, and it was in Louisiana.
Okay.
And she was a Spitfire. We went.
Oh yeah, I remember her.
We went out assessing, and she greeted us at the door, grabbed us, brought us in the house, and then told us what we were doing.
Wow.
And we just had the best time. And the funniest thing, and I'll have to share this. She's probably in her 80s, and she was telling me about getting into a fist fight with her neighbor.
Oh, my gosh.
So I was like...
Never heard this story.
Yes, I was like, Miss Mary, you do not need to be fighting with your neighbor. And she goes, well, she told me I needed to leave this neighborhood, and I was here first. And they had a fist fight out in the street.
Oh, my gosh. I've never heard this before.
I have loved it.
Oh, my gosh.
Yes. So before we left her home, of course, we did do some work for her. But before we left, I said, now, Miss Mary, don't you be fighting with your neighbors. Well, I'll try, but no guarantees, she said.
Oh my gosh. Oh, you do meet some very, maybe we're interesting as well, but you meet a lot of interesting people around. I've never heard that one.
I would never imagine that.
Yes.
Oh my gosh.
I will never forget that story, or Miss Mary.
Wow.
She was doing the actions like she was boxing.
Come
she was
on.
telling the story.
Really?
Yeah, she was. Yeah, she was.
Gosh.
She said I gave her a left and I gave her a right. It was.
Oh my gosh. Well, hopefully you had a chance to pray with her and calm her down a little bit. So,
We did.
okay, good. Wow.
If you have a prayer journal, I hope she's at the top of it.
Yeah, Miss Mary. Oh, yes. Oh, my gosh. I remember on 8 Days Hope 1, Miss Mary Labatt. We helped her with her house, and for years, she recently passed, but for years, every Christmas, Mike, she would send us a Christmas card.
Oh.
Yeah, it stays in touch, and she's been on a couple trips with us as well, when, before her health kind of deteriorated a little bit. And we've seen that from time to time, Tina and Alan. Again, we're talking to Tina and Alan Haley. They're missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. You can support them. You can become a monthly partner, one-time gift. You can do that on our website. 8 Days Hope will not hold up any of that money. You'll get a tax deductible receipt, of course, and you can do a one-time gift if you don't want a monthly commitment. But you can go to 8daysofhope.com, who we are, click on the missionaries, and look for Alan and Tina Haley. Alan, you're good with your hands. You do some carpentry work, you do some other things, and you're helping now build a gymnasium that teenage girls will utilize, especially during the winter, to kind of work off some of their frustration or some of the, just maybe some of the stress that we all have in life. But that project's coming together really nice. What are the plans for today?
Well, Mr. Harrell says I'm going to be driving the telehandler today.
Okay, all right. And just for someone that doesn't know what that is, what is that?
It's a boom lift.
I'm sorry?
It's a forklift that's on a boom and raise material up to the top of the building.
Okay. So I think you guys are putting the roof on today. Is that correct?
I think that's what's going on.
Okay. I think you're going to find out in about 20 minutes when we're done with this interview. That's right.
I haven't been up there yet.
Okay.
We just got here yesterday.
Well, you were in London, Kentucky. That's why. I mean, come on now. I mean, you work more than people that have a real job. I mean, you guys get those hours in. Oh, my gosh. Yeah. Mike, it's amazing when you see volunteers work together. I mean, Harold Dawson's leading the project. Sean Kay is up there. I think Justin Trickey was up there. I think Ellen is going to slide in now for Justin. He had to head home. There was a tornado that hit his town. But there's something, and I can't wait to be there tomorrow, when you see volunteers working together. And, you and I have worked decades. Everything isn't always peachy at your job.
Right. Absolutely.
There's people that get under your skin, right? I mean, it's just life. And, we get under other people's skin. I get it. But there's something about watching a team of volunteers from around the country come together and build a 7,000 square foot gymnasium. It's going to be done, Mike, in 8 weeks, from start to finish.
Absolutely.
And there's something cool. There's something so neat about that.
It's rewarding. It's fulfilling. And, I mean, every drop of sweat that you put into it is really a blessing. But, back to the word came to me, circle up. That's what we do when things are not going real smooth. And what that is, folks, if you haven't heard that term, you stop, you take a deep breath, you circle up, have a word of prayer, and you get back to work, and then watch what God does in you, through you, and then look at the project and look who that's going to serve through the rest of decades.
Yeah, long after we're all gone. Tina, again, you're going to walk on that campus, and you guys were there multiple times for phase 1. Knowing that cottage that you worked in, or that the administration building that also has a medical wing to it, that you were a part of that, and it's being utilized while you're there helping them with phase 2. That's got to be a cool feeling, Tina.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. It's amazing. You just can't describe how you feel.
I was at the Kayla Fan Awards, and Ben Fuller was there, and Ben, he's not quiet.
Sure. No,
and Melissa Brown had sent him a text because he was in Akron a couple weeks ago with Kane, and they had coffee. Melissa Brown's the founder of Safe Harbor, and I love how God has connected the dots there too, because it's I love watching Christian music artists not just sing songs and try to sell downloads or albums or CDs, whatever you call them these days. But he and some of the other artists who were working, they're all in. He really cares about what's going on at Safe Harbor. But the point I wanted to make was Melissa was just bragging on the team that's down there right now.
Oh, absolutely.
Ben read me her text. 8 Days Old volunteers are doing an amazing job. Workmanship is excellent. And again, we're not perfect. We're not perfect. But boy, the Alan Haleys of the world, the Tina Haleys of the world, they care. And they're trying their best to do it in excellence, Mike.
Yeah, and let me hitchhike with the Ben Fuller comment. When I first met him, Laplace, here was a guy that, I was supposed to pick him up at the airport and get him back to the hotel at night. Where'd he go? Where'd he go? He's out. He's out buying ice cream for people and shaking hands and working. He really wanted to work. Yeah. Even at the end of the event, he's pulling TV screens down. Here, where does this go?
That's right.
That's the heart of 8 Days of Hope people.
I love it.
They want to serve.
Tina, Alan, we do have to wrap up. The four of us, we're not in our 30s and 40s anymore. The four of us are a little bit north of there, to different degrees. I'll leave it at that.
Okay, good, thank you.
You guys still go 100 miles an hour. You were in London, Kentucky. You went home for a couple of days, and here you are in Ohio. I mean, come on. What drives you, Tina?
God drives me. We just want to do something. We just do not want to sit at home and see all this going on and just sit at home and think, well, somebody else is going to do that.
Sure.
We're the somebody else's. We're going to do it.
That's good.
I like that. We're the someone else's. Yeah. I mean, I love that. Well, thank you both. You have for many years have been a part of this ministry. You've seen it grow. We've had our bumps in the road, and there's been curveballs here and there in life. But that happens anywhere. Happens in our families. Happens everywhere. But here you are still standing strong, doing kingdom work. And I get it. You're not doing it for Mike and Steve. You're not even doing it for the 8 Days of Hope ministry. You're doing this for the kingdom. And that's what I love.
Right. Yes.
Is that your that's what the focus should be. It should be, no one's looking for an attaboy. No one's looking for a thank you. We're doing this because God's called us to do this.
That's right.
He's gifted you two so uniquely. Tina, with your office skills and your leadership skills. Alan, not just with your hands, but leading as well. It's been fun to watch you guys grow and the ministry grow together over the last 20 years.
That's right.
It's been fun. Last thing. So if someone our age, north of 30, 40, were wondering about getting involved in 8 Days of Hope, is there something for them? Tina, let's do a 30-second commercial. Why should someone join up with 8 Days of Hope?
Because you will have an amazing time. You will see God show out. So just go to 8daysofhope.com and sign up.
Oh, gosh. She wants our job, Mike. I can tell already. She did that too good, Mike.
Oh, I'm telling you. Yeah.
I just hope she wants your job more than my job.
Oh, my.
I just want to warn you, Tina, this job does not pay. Mike does not, we don't get compensated to sit here and do this.
I'm going to leave the studio nervous today.
Well, she wasn't reading from the paper. She just kind of
put it out there.
Yeah, she did.
Awesome.
Alan, what would you say to someone who's in their 50s or 60s and maybe they've got some gifts and, they're good with their hands, they're handy woman, handy man, maybe they were a contractor, maybe they worked a white-collar job their whole life, but why should they come and serve a time or two with 8 Days of Hope?
I was going to say just come on and serve God. I mean, if you got skills, come on. If you don't have skills, come on and we'll show you what to do.
There's hope for Mike and I. If you don't have any skills, now just want to remind you, Alan, we call it less skilled, not non-skilled. We call it less skilled. But Mike and I are lesser skilled.
Yeah, lesser skilled. Oh my.
Well, Father, thank you for Alan and Tina. Thank you for their willingness to say yes, Lord. Not only right now serving Safe Harbor in Ohio, but for the leadership in London, Kentucky. But thank you, Father. They said yes 20 years ago to Bay St. Louis and Waveland on our first trips, Lord, as we were serving people after Katrina. Lord, raising money, Lord, is hard. It's uncomfortable to ask. Father, I pray that there's a handful, 2, 3, 4, 5 people out there today that will go to the website, Lord, and make a gift, a donation, Lord. They paid their own way to get from Kentucky to Ohio. They've got to take care of a house, even though they have friends helping them. But Lord, I just pray that somebody today would sow into them, even with a one-time gift, Father.
That's right.
Just with a prayer. Someone today just stand in the gap for Alan and Tina, Lord, as they serve in Ohio. Be with them today. Thank you for their leadership. Thank you for their partnership with 8 Days of Hope.
That's right.
And thank you, Lord, that they serve as missionaries. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen. Well, Tina and Alan, we will see you tomorrow, and I'm excited to watch you work that machine, whatever you called it, Alan. I'll just believe you that that's what it's called. And I'm excited to see you work it. I know if Mike showed up, you probably wouldn't let him in it or even touch it. But
hey, guys, do me one favor. When Steve gets down there on that machine, take a picture and send it to me.
Yeah. If they get a picture of me in that machine, our insurance rate would double. Our insurance company would see that and say, "Oh, we got to jack those rates up."
Yeah,
anyways.
there you go.
Well, thank you both so much. And again, if you're listening today, join the Haleys. Go to 8daysofhope.com. Make a one-time gift, $50.
Yes.
$50, $20. Skip lunch today or skip buying 2 of those fancy coffees and make a gift today. It is tax deductible, and you can do that at 8dayshope.com. Who we are, click on the missionary tab and look for the Haleys. I know they would appreciate it. Tina, Alan, have a great day, and we'll see you tomorrow.
God bless you guys.
That was Alan and Tina Haley, missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. You know, Mike, they have been around since day one.
Day one, yeah.
And, traveling the country and working with volunteers and being a part of a ministry that's just growing dramatically brings its challenges, but they have continued to fight the fight.
Well, it's something that, and I'm hearing it in so many volunteers like this. It's like God puts it in their heart beyond their finances or whatever else. They answer the call and they see God moving, not only in the activity that they do on the job sites or wherever they're called to, but I'm sure they see it in their family, they see it in their marriage, they see it in their finances. God's taking care of them. You want to be in God's will, and they're following it.
Amen. Well, they've been around a long, long time and have done a great job serving with 8 Days Hope, and it's been a lot of fun watching them grow and do it in excellence. And again, we'll be praying for them and the others that are in Ohio as I head down there tomorrow. Hey, if you do not have a will, so, all of us someday will not be here. And when you leave, don't let the state make a decision where your assets go. And assets could be an automobile, your house, your finances. If you don't have a will, you can get a free one, no strings attached. Go to our website, 8dayshope.com, and you can get a free will through an organization called Free Will. They've partnered with 8 Days of Hope, and it's valid in all 50 states. It will take 20 minutes to get a free will. And you can always update it down the road. But if you don't have one today, just take 20 minutes, go to our website, click on the free will picture, and it will take you to the website. Now, during the process of doing a will, you can leave gifts to ministries, nonprofits. You can leave a gift to 8 Days of Hope if you choose, but you don't have to get a will. So as believers, God has entrusted us with much, and we should be good stewards of what happens to those when we're not here. And that day will come for all of us. So again, get a free will today. And we'd love to do that for you.
I'll tell you, this free will. I wonder if they got a link, a musical riff or something that
a jingle. We should make a jingle. Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. You're a singer. You're a worship leader. Come up with a jingle.
I'm going to work on that.
All right.
That's got a good vibe
here we
to
go.
it.
My name is Mike, and I'm here to say that we should have a will today. Anyways. I know. That's free today, Mike, by the way.
I like that.
Yeah, I bet you did like that. I know. Hey, we are so thankful for our national partners. I think about our friends at Barnes Crossing Auto Group. They're based in Mississippi, but they have locations all in the South in many states. Barnes Crossing Auto Group, our friends Joe and the team there, they love 8 Days Hope. They support us financially. Our partners cover our fixed cost. And so if you make a donation today to help out with the feeding that we did in St. Louis or what we did in London, Kentucky, or you heard that we were in LA with the fires, or right now today we're in Ohio, building phase 2 of Safe Harbor, the largest campus in the country for teenage girls rescued from sex trafficking. You can do that online at 8daysofhope.com. It's fast, it's easy, it's safe. Become a monthly partner. Love for you to become a monthly partner. You can do that, $20 a month, $50 a month, $100, whatever you want, $5 a month, whatever you want, but we would welcome that as well. You can do that there. But also our partners, they send us, they cover our fixed cost every year. And so again, I want to thank American Family Radio, where most of you are listening this on today. They continue to support 8 Days of Hope. I also want to give a shout out to Covenant Church. They're in Dallas, and they've been a partner of ours for about 6-7 years now. So Brian Coleman and the team there, we love you guys. Multiple campuses. If you're looking for a church in Dallas and you don't belong to a church, or if you're just curious, Covenant Church, go to their website and learn about their times and their places. Big week ahead, Mike?
Yes, trying to take advantage of the nicer weather up north and get things done.
Both. Yeah, we don't have much of it. We got to grab it while we can.
And safe travels to you, my friend.
Yeah, thank you. Excited to go to Safe Harbor. Excited to see Melissa Brown down there. Excited. This will be my first time back since they opened up and they have teenage girls on the campus. And so, it is going to be a different vibe. It's not as carefree as we were, of course. We can't bring phones on site, of course, and, all that stuff. And you know what? If you're interested in joining that fight, if you're skilled with your hands and are 18, there is a background check. Email us at safehouse@8daysofhope.com. We're always looking for plumbers, electricians, and framers. So email us at safehouse@8daysofhope.com, and we would love to get you involved with our Safe House ministry. We've got 30 seconds, Mike. What are you going to remember today from the Haleys?
As you had said, if you're north of 30 or 40, there's something for you to do.
Yeah.
And they are great examples of getting it done.
Absolutely. They are true servants. They really are. But, thank you to Tina Allen for being 2 of our, I think, 24 missionaries with 8 Days of Hope. So thankful for WDCX and the Crawford team here producing the show every week. Thank you so much to all of our friends who put this together. And a special shout out to Trace Gillis. Kim Lackey has moved on. She's given birth to Bruce, her and Scott. So be praying for them. She's out of Buffalo, and she's on maternity leave. But anyways, Steve Tybee here, hanging out with Mike Phil. Thanks for listening today. This has been Hope Reigns, a broadcast of 8 Days of Hope.
Thanks for listening to Hope Reigns from 8 Days of Hope. Come back next week for more God-sized stories from across the country. To listen to this or a previous episode of Hope Reigns, please visit our show archive at 8daysofhope.com.